To start off, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. As you guys might know, SeatGeek is the best way to get tickets to NBA games or any live event. And with the NBA season here now, this app is pretty much a must-have for all NBA fans, as you get to see the view from the seats live before you buy them. And not only that, but on top of their already best prices out there, you get an additional $20 off when you use the promo code SDC on your first order. So definitely check the app out if you haven't already. I'll have the link so you can download it down in the description box below. So Rajon Rondo is being accused of spitting in the face of Chris Paul. Alright, the Lakers had their home opener yesterday, LeBron James' first official game as a Laker in the Staples Center, and they were going up against the Houston Rockets, and it was a really good and close game all the way up until late in the fourth quarter when this went down.
By Harden. He ran into a man, no basket, but a foul on Ingram. Uh-oh, look out, little extracurricular. It's Ingram and Harden. And look where the peacemaker is.
There's a technical on Ingram. I don't know if that's all he's going to get.
So the physical contact, Ingram and Harden. And then those two face-to-face. Uh-oh, no, look out! Rondo and Chris Paul, and they're throwing punches.
There's going to be, and the director of QP Vandeway is about 10 rows up.
So things got real wild real quick there. First off, Brandon Ingram was upset with James Harden because he felt Harden put some extra emphasis on driving the ball into his chest on that fast break. So he took offense to that, and it is what it is. And then right after that, a fight had broken out between Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo. And like I said at the beginning, Chris Paul was upset because he claims that Rajon Rondo spat in his face, which if that's actually the case, I think everyone can agree that he reacted in an appropriate manner. He had every right to be upset. But here's the thing, no one really knows if Rajon Rondo actually did spit in the face of Chris Paul. And it's impossible to tell from the original angle as to whether or not Rondo did purposefully spit towards or on CP3. And even from a different angle, you can see Chris Paul wiping his face as if he did just get spat on, but you still don't see any evidence that Rondo actually spat on him at all. Dom2K though, I'm sure all of you guys know who he is, had a pretty reasonable explanation for this, as he said that it's possible that Rondo was just saying something and then inadvertently spat on Paul, you know, say it, don't spray it, and then CP3 took it the wrong way and things got out of hand. And then in Rondo's defense, if someone accused you of spitting on them and you didn't, and then they put their finger all up in your face like that, you're gonna get upset too. So it seems like this whole thing could have just been one big misunderstanding until it boiled over into an actual fight where it looks like players are actually about to get suspended. And after the game, of course, players were asked about this incident, and Carmelo Anthony had Chris Paul's back 100%, as he was adamant that Rondo did spit on CP3, saying that spitting on another player or person in general is just unacceptable.
Unacceptable. What was so unacceptable? Man, we all know what happened. Ain't no need to keep going back and forth about that. What happened was unacceptable. It shouldn't have happened. And what happened out there happened. Just to clarify, sort of spitting incident? Yeah, that's unacceptable.
And he's 100% right. If Rondo did spit on CP3, then that is 100% unacceptable. But then again, we don't know if Rondo actually did spit on CP3, and it's starting to look like he didn't. And James Harden, on the other hand, couldn't say for sure as to whether or not Rondo did spit on his teammate Chris Paul, since he didn't see it for himself.
James, we were hearing that Chris reacted because he felt like he got spit in the face. Yeah. Is that what happened?
That's what
he
said. What was said.
That's what he said.
Yeah, and as a man, I mean, the only thing you can do and react is to stand up for yourself. So, you know, we'll see how it play out, but, you know, it is what it is.
And then you have LeBron James's response to all of this. He insisted that he didn't see, say, or do anything.
See anything. I didn't say nothing to my team after the game. Coach said what he had to say. Come in tomorrow, get better.
I mean, if you think about it, this was his teammate and one of his best friends in the league that he considers family, so he didn't want to say anything they could get either of them into even more trouble. So that's what all of the players were saying about all of this. And Adrian Wojnarowski then let us know that the two teams had both watched and did their own little investigation by watching the tape back, and the Lakers were of course saying that Rondo didn't spit on Chris Paul, and the Rockets were taking Paul's side saying that Rondo did spit on Chris Paul. So it's a classic he said, she said. Of course, both teams are going to be backing the narrative that best suits their players. Where this gets really bad though, if you ask me, is for Brandon Ingram, as not only did he get into it with James Harden, then throw that sucker punch at Chris Paul at the very end there, which by the way, throwing a punch automatically results in a 1-game suspension, but he also confronted a referee in a way that kind of insinuated that he wanted smoke with the ref. And yes, players do often get into it with refs sometimes, but I think the referee association is going to argue the case that Ingram approached this ref in a very threatening manner, which could end up in at least a couple more games added to Brandon Ingram's suspension. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ingram gets a 2 or 3 game suspension, while both Paul and Rondo on the other hand will at least get 1 game for throwing punches. And believe it or not, but this whole thing still doesn't end here, as the families of Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo were also getting into it with each other in the stands. Along with the Chris Paul Rajon Rondo altercation in the Lakers vs Rockets, one of Rondo's family members confronted Paul's wife Jada. The NBA is investigating tonight's on-court altercations ahead of the Rockets vs Clippers game on Sunday. So we'll know who is getting punished for what in probably just a few hours, since the league has to make a decision before the Clippers play the Rockets. And as for the Lakers now being 0-2 on the season, it does have some fans worried, especially since offensively they have struggled big time in their first 2 games. And Legend of Winning, a well-known Lakers fan, actually pointed out that it took the Lakers over 110 possessions to only score 115 points, which isn't good at all. But if you were to ask me, yes, this is a problem, but no, there's no need to panic just yet. The Lakers though do need someone to step up in the offensive end, whether it's Ingram, Kuzma, or even KCP. They need someone to start hitting shots. Nikola Jokic might have just put up the best performance that any player in the NBA will ever put up this year, as he literally played a perfect game while having a triple-double. 35 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists on 11 of 11 shooting from the field, and 0 turnovers in a win. Do you guys know what a player would have to do to have a better game than that? Because I don't. The only other player in NBA history to have a similar game to Jokic was Wilt Chamberlain, who also had a 30-point triple-double without missing a single field goal. But that being said, it wasn't all good for the Nuggets yesterday, as Will Barton had to leave this game in a wheelchair in the 3rd quarter after apparently injuring his hip on a drive to the rim. And Barton stuck around after the game doing an interview, which he said, "I'll just wait for the MRI. I don't want to predict anything or get too high or too low. Just once I find out, I'll take it from there." Hopefully this is nothing that causes Barton to miss too much time, because he is such a key player for the Nuggets, and they're going to need him as well as everyone else on their roster healthy if they finally want to make the playoffs this year. So Dom 2K said yesterday that Jayson Tatum is clearly trying to make the Boston Celtics his team, and I completely agree with him. I'd even start to say that maybe the Celtics already are Jayson Tatum's team. See, a lot of people acknowledge that Kyrie Irving is a really clutch player, right? That seems to be a thing, that people think that Kyrie Irving is a clutch player. Well, if that's the case, then what does it say about Jayson Tatum when the Celtics always choose to go to him in clutch situations, and more often than not, it pays off for them, just like it did yesterday, as late in the 4th quarter with the Celtics up 1, Jayson Tatum channeled his inner Kobe Bryant and knocked down one of Kobe's patented turnaround faders to seal the game for Boston. Tatum finishing the game with 24 points and 14 rebounds as the Celtics get the win over the Knicks despite Gordon Hayward sitting the game out. I know Jimmy Butler was at home watching the game just saying, "I told you so." The Wolves really do need him and can't win without him, as Minnesota ended up blowing a 15-point lead to the Dallas Mavericks yesterday and losing 140 to 136. The Mavericks scored 140 points against the Wolves. This is exactly why Butler wants out. Luka Doncic, though, showing us exactly why he was the EuroLeague MVP last year, as he took the game over in the second half, scoring 26 points and hitting a few timely 3-pointers as well. While on the other hand, Derrick Rose did play extremely well for the Wolves, dropping 28 points off the bench. Oh, and by the way, Dallas Mavericks fans are absolute savages, as late in the 4th quarter, they distracted Karl Anthony Towns at the free throw line by chanting Jimmy Butler's name.
16 in the third. Listen to this Jimmy Butler chant as Karl Anthony Towns is shooting free throws. Wow. Give it up to the fans for that one.
I'm surprised that back when LeBron James was with the Cleveland Cavaliers for the first time in his career that no Celtics fans started chanting, I don't know, Delonte West or something while LeBron was at the free throw line. Not a good look for the Wizards as they just lost to the Raptors, who didn't even have Kawhi Leonard yesterday. I do have to say though that Kyle Lowry has been extremely impressive so far this season. It's only 3 games in, but still he has had 3 phenomenal games. He led the way with 28 points and 12 assists last night. Speaking of the Raptors though, former Raptor DeMar DeRozan and the Spurs fell to the Blazers 121-108. DeMar DeRozan did play well with 28 points and 9 assists, but San Antonio just couldn't match the firepower of both Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, who combined for 53. Kemba Walker is single-handedly carrying the Hornets. I mean, he is literally doing all of the work for them, as he had almost another 40-point game yesterday, scoring 39 of the Hornets when they were 113-112 win over the Heat. He has to be one of the most respected players in the league. It's just sad that he's on such a bad team. Scary sign for the Sixers as Ben Simmons had to leave this game with back stiffness and didn't return. And without Simmons, the Sixers probably would have lost this game to the Magic yesterday, had it not been for JJ Redick, who stepped up big time for Philly, scoring 31 points off the bench, including hitting 8 triple attempts. Joel Embiid though was pretty good too, as he did have 32 points. I'm still impressed with Caris LeVert as he had another really solid game, but the Nets just didn't stand a chance against the Pacers, as Victor Oladipo and his 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 steals were more than enough to get the Pacers to blow a 132-112 win over. Zach LaVine is legit. He's going to be really good. He's already really good, and I kind of feel bad for him because watching this game yesterday, you can see how badly he wants to win, but he's on the Bulls, so he probably won't be doing much winning at all for a few years. As even though he dropped 33 points on the night, the Bulls still lost to the Pistons 118-116. Blake Griffin scoring 33 points of his own to go along with 12 rebounds and 5 assists. Now though, it is time for the player of the day. We guys can vote for who you think was the best player from yesterday by clicking the little eye icon in the top right hand corner of the video. Just remember though, the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. And yesterday, that player was none other than Nikola Jokic and his 36 points and 9 rebounds. And that is going to do it for all the action from yesterday though, guys. Like the video if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel with post notifications turned on so you can stay up to date with everything that goes on in the NBA on a daily basis. Thank you once again for watching though. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs. Until tomorrow, I am out of here. Peace.